Welcome, everybody, to the Market Down Podcast live Rampage reaction. I am Nick Cummings, along with James Gisante.
What up?
A lot to talk about after tonight.
A little
So
bit.
how about that Jurassic Express versus Private Party match?
I don't think I've seen anything bigger in wrestling than that match.
Yeah, that Canadian Destroyer off the top of Luchasaurus's shoulders was unbelievable. Spot of the night.
Future of wrestling.
We're kidding. Obviously, we're here to talk about the return of one CM Punk to wrestling after a 7-year hiatus. Comes out just to immediately start the show, which is probably the right call because I'm pretty sure that crowd would have hijacked the entire thing if they didn't.
That is the beauty of what AEW does. They promise something, they tease you with something, and then they deliver. They don't make you suffer for it. So we got the best in the world in a wrestling ring for the first time in 2,766 days, 7 years. And it felt like he didn't miss a beat.
Yeah, I see you saw the sign too with the number of days.
I mean, of course. Hell yeah. I mean, thank you, guy, because I wouldn't have done that math. Yeah. But my God, like, seriously, the most excited I've been about wrestling, and I couldn't tell you how long. And it's not just because it's Punk. Like, we knew it was coming. It was just, there was a level of emotion. There was a level of investment that I don't think happens all that often in wrestling anymore. And it felt like we were watching something historic.
There was that guy crying. They showed him on the replay.
Oh, yeah.
Too. Like, there was, I know a couple of the other guys on the podcast who weren't able to be here tonight. They were crying too. Like, people were seriously invested and emotional in his return. I mean, I'm excited, not just because like the comeback was cool. And it was one of those things I knew about. So like, I was kind of like mentally prepared for it.
Yeah.
But I'm just so excited to see what he's going to do. Like, the anticipation of everything he's going to do is just tantalizing because I still go back at least once a year and watch everything from the pipe bomb through that, the Money in the Bank match. And then I even watch his return and then I stop because it kind of got weird after that. But I constantly watch his promos. The one that he had versus Rock about talking like you can't box with God.
Oh, absolutely. His match with Brock Lesnar, his match with Brock Lesnar is one of like my favorite matches of all time. It tells such an amazing story. And more than anything, we could go over Punk's resume for however long, but the truth is he's a guy who loved wrestling and gave his all for wrestling and then had that love taken away from him. It was zapped from his body. And for years, we as fans were saying, CM Punk. And we wanted him back. We begged him to come back and he couldn't do it. He refused for his own mental health, his own emotional well-being. And I support that. I respect that. And I'm so happy for him that he stuck to it. But for 7 years, he felt he couldn't come back to wrestling. And the fact that he feels he can do that now, that means more to me than ever actually seeing him in a ring. The fact that he feels he can do it, the fact that he feels better about himself as a person, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Like, go CM Punk, go Phil Brooks. Whatever happens next in wrestling, we know it's going to be Darby Allin. That's going to be his first match, or at least his first pay-per-view match. That's gigantic. And Darby's going to get the rub from that, but it doesn't matter what Punk does. Punk could be wrestling in title matches. He could be wrestling newcomers. He could be wrestling tag matches. No matter what he does, people are going to be invested because that's CM Punk.
And I do like the idea of them giving him Darby for the first match because Darby's a guy, and we talked about this a bit on the pod that was released earlier today. Darby's a guy that is already over as fuck, and they want to continue to grow his brand. So giving him to Punk for the first match, whether or not he wins or loses, is still huge for him because he's getting that serious rub there.
Absolutely.
So that is awesome. Man, I'm just, I keep saying, I know the name of the pod today was the word of the day is excited, and that just got cranked all the way to 11.
Hell yeah.
Like, I'm honestly a little speechless. Yeah.
It's something that for years I told myself was never going to happen. It's something that even when we were told, hey guys, this is most likely happening, I believed it, but I couldn't believe it. And I'm so used to, I'm not going to badmouth any other company. I don't want to talk negatively about any other company, but I'm so used to being swerved. I'm so used to being told to expect something and then have my expectations subverted. And it's weird to say, hey, we're promising you something you're going to like. We're promising something you've been asking for, and then get it. It's been a long time as a fan since I can recall that happening.
Yeah. And to go back into Punk, the stuff you were talking about, Punk's mental health and him, everything, he touched upon all of that in this promo, and I thought that was very important. Just just to hear his state of mind, considering the fact that he hasn't been back for 7 years, and like hearing why, not just because it was like, oh, I just didn't feel like it. It was like, nah, I had to get myself right because
exactly
of the the way he was telling it. Being in WWE messed him up a lot of ways, not just all the physical stuff we heard about in the media and in the trial and stuff, but like he was a little messed up in the head, and they basically killed his love for wrestling. And
absolutely.
And again, that's something he said in the promo where he was like, I stopped participating in professional wrestling, I'm obviously paraphrasing here, when I left Ring of Honor in 2005.
I could not tell you how deep that cut me. I couldn't, like, I've been, you guys are going to learn this. Nick, you know this. I'm a wrestling fan. I'm not a WWE fan. I'm not an AEW fan. I am a wrestling fan. And I have been a fan of Ring of Honor. I've been a fan of independent wrestling. I've been a fan of everything. And I know, I've always heard the stories. When you go to WWE, it's different. Like, they love calling themselves sports entertainment. They're not a wrestling company. There's a sports entertainment company. And there's nothing wrong with that if that's what you want to do. But to hear this man say, when he was being called the best in the world in the #1 company in the world, saying that all that time he wasn't really doing what he loved and now he feels like he is again, it's hard not to get choked up. It's hard not to just be in awe of this man's journey. And like, let's be real, Punk's not a young guy. He's not he's not an old guy, but he's not some kid. He's not 42. In his 20s. Exactly.
I looked it up.
Yeah, he's in his early 40s. You can still get a lot done in your early 40s, and I'm sure he can still go.
Yeah.
But this is a new chapter in this man's life. This is a new chapter in this man's career. It's not like we're catching him at the end of his WWE run and he's jumped ship. This is a man who has thought long and hard about what he wants to do, and it's his ball to run with. Absolutely. And I don't think they're going to be putting the title on him any day now. I don't think that's going to happen. I think if he wins the title, he doesn't need it. He's bigger than, I don't want to say he's bigger than the title, but like,
he might be a bigger draw.
He's definitely a bigger draw. I mean, nothing against Kenny Omega, but
in terms of pop culture, he is most certainly a bigger draw. Like the way I see things in terms of how big is this in terms of the grand scale of pop culture, if Sports Center tweets it out, it's important. And the last time that happened was when Cena came back a couple of months ago. And before that, I can't even tell you. And the fact they have deals kind of with WWE, like they make sure they cover them, like they have a whole WWE section on the website next to like the NFL and MLB and stuff. The fact that they tweeted out something that was not WWE is huge because they've never gone anywhere near AEW, I'm pretty sure, ever. So
I think tonight was, I mean, if you're a wrestling fan, you've known about AEW since before AEW was officially formed. If you're a casual, maybe you've heard of them. But tonight was their grand hello world. We're not that other company. We are AEW, All Elite Wrestling, and we have the best in the world in our company. You could have made that argument before. You could have made that argument with Kenny Omega. You could have made that argument with the Young Bucks. You could have made that argument with Chris Jericho or John Moxley. But CM Punk, to quote a certain wrestler from another company who disagrees, CM Punk moves the needle. CM Punk is a big draw. CM Punk is the man. So when he is called the best in the world, you might argue with it, but you can't deny how good he is.
Yeah. So another thing I wanted to touch on from the promo was I did see some debate over on Reddit where he did mention we at the very beginning. And he was like, and we're going to change things. And then he said, that's a very specific we, and we'll get back to that later.
And he didn't.
Yeah, and he really didn't. Now, people were debating it was going to be him and the fans. Some people were thinking, hey, maybe that's Brian coming in. Well, do you think that's that, or you think he just kind of forgot?
I don't know. I mean, I know he said he was winging that promo, and I believe him. I don't think he had a script in front of him, and this is the first time he's done a promo in a wrestling ring without a script in a long time.
Yeah.
So
or at least given bullet points.
Yeah. I think he probably had a lot on his mind. Maybe we is something important that he wasn't supposed to say. Maybe we is the fans. I don't know. In my head, fan booking, I've got him and Brian involved in some way at some point.
Yeah. And he loves Brian. I think he still calls Brian Dragon.
I wouldn't doubt it. I would. In Brian's book, he says, like, Punk and I might not be the closest guys, but there's always been a respect there. And I think their journeys have been so similar, going from the Indies to Ring of Honor to WWE to being almost forced out in a certain way. Brian's story was a little happier in that regard, but they have always sort of been intertwined in my mind and in a lot of fans' minds. And it's known, I might be wearing a Punk shirt right now, but I am a Bryan Danielson fan. He is my guy, and I would love to see him and Punk have the classics I know they're capable of. Not that they didn't have great matches in WWE, but I would love to see them tussle in AEW. But I also kind of want them separate because I want to see who these guys can wrestle that they've never wrestled before.
I want to see. They want to see that too. I think they want to see that too. They want to have some guys. I mean, that was Punk's promo. He was like, Darby's here. I want to go fuck with this guy. Let's go.
Exactly. No matter what, I'm happy. You can give me CM Punk versus Darby Allin. You can give me CM Punk versus Bryan Danielson. You can give me, please, CM Punk versus Kenny Omega. You can give me CM Punk versus 2.0 in a handicap match, and I will love it.
I genuinely thought he might come out and save Moxley there for a second just to give the crowd a GTS. But
I hope that the crowd got that when the cameras went off, because that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
But
you know what I really want?
What's that?
I need him versus Kenta. I need him versus Kenta for the GTS.
Kenta needs that. He said the moment the rumors came out, he said, "Give me Punk," and I saw that too, and I was like, "I need it." I mean, I want Bryan Danielson versus Kenta too, but we're talking about Punk right now.
Yeah. We'll talk about Bryan when he shows up.
Right. No matter what, I am excited to see how the ratings were for tonight. That's going to be awesome. I wish. I've been there. I've been in live crowds for a lot of memorable events. I was there for Kofi Mania. I was there when Daniel Bryan won at WrestleMania 30. I was there when The Undertaker, the streak was broken. I was there when the Hardys returned. I was there for Shinsuke Nakamura versus Sami Zayn. There aren't a lot of moments where I regret not being there. This is one of those moments that I would have given anything to be in that crowd in Chicago, to feel that energy and to feel that emotion. You were talking about it. Men were crying out in the crowd. Women were crying out in the crowd. People watching at home on TV were crying. And it's because, as corny as it is, CM Punk for the longest time was the voice of the voiceless. He was one of us. He was the guy who made it. And this is the story we all wanted to see told.
Yeah, I know. I did want to bring it back to the shirt for a sec because I did want to get this in there. The AEW, the shop AEW.com crashed.
And Pro Wrestling Tees. Both of them crashed. That
shirt came out and everybody wanted. I want one too. And I was watching with my brother and he was just like, the site is already crashed. I was like, what? He was like, yeah. I was like, well, we're not going to get that till Christmas at the earliest at this point.
The moment I saw that shirt, I said it's going to be going for hundreds of dollars on the secondary market.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it will be. I'm sure there's going to be some fan who goes on eBay and spends triple digits to get that shirt. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them. That it's going to be a piece of history. And I know I'm gabbing a lot, but I too sort of feel speechless. I don't know what to say. I don't know where to go with it, but damn, what a great time to be a wrestling fan.
He was so over. He got a huge pop for sitting cross-legged in the middle of the ring.
I mean, how could you not? That's his pipe bomb pose. How could you not? How could you not? I when that happened, I was like, oh my God.
No, I did the same thing. I did the same thing. I slapped my brother. I was like, oh my God, he's kneeling. He's sitting. I was like, why? Like, who cares?
Now, do you think he was crying when he came down the ramp? Because I saw water on his face, but I wasn't sure if he maybe splashed something or if maybe he was just tearing
sweating, but he was close. He was definitely close. I mean, how could he not? From everything I've been reading on the internet from people there, you couldn't even hear Cult of Personality playing in the crowd. Like, that's how loud the crowd was. And I mean, I've seen, video of that crowd when, Jordan was on the Bulls and they were in the finals. And it was loud. And I don't think United Center has ever been that loud. No disrespect to Michael Jordan, but
I think the GOAT will be fine.
Yeah, and they don't even have a full capacity crowd at AEW. I still think it might have been louder.
Damn, the energy. I'm still like, it's been over an hour now. It's been 2 hours, and I'm still like riding that emotional energy high. And I can't wait to see how they follow up on Wednesday. I think they knew better to not let anyone interrupt him tonight. I think tonight needed to be Punk's moment. And if any heel tried to come out and ruin it, it wouldn't have gone well. It wouldn't have gone the way they would have wanted it for. But I think on Wednesday, we're going to see another promo and we're going to see an interruption of some sort. And I think that's for the best.
Yeah.
I think there should be some heat. But, oh my God. I feel like
I feel like if they did have somebody come out, it would have felt very WWE.
I agree.
And like it would have been for the person would have gotten nuclear heat, but like it would have had to be somebody kind of like it would have been like a heel jobber.
Oh yeah.
You couldn't have anybody important come out because he would have immediately taken a GTS and then he immediately would have,
he would have looked like a jabroni.
Pop. Yeah, exactly. It would have looked like it would have been like the Ascension all over again. It would have been like that. God.
Yeah, this was a perfect moment.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. We're so often told this is a moment. This is going to be something in 20 years. Nobody did anything. They let the moment be the moment. The commentary wasn't on top of anything. Nobody was talking over. It was 15 minutes, I think, of Punk. And that's exactly what it needed to be. And I'm going to remember tonight for a very long time.
Yeah, I made sure to record it on my DVR. I might even record it on a VHS just to make sure I have it lying around
forever. This is something, as a wrestling fan, I'm going to hold it near and dear for a very long time.
Also, kids, a VHS is what was before Blu-rays, which and before DVDs. I still have a VHS player.
I
gotta watch it too somehow.
I do too, and I hate myself now, and I don't need to keep thinking about how old I am. So we're gonna move forward. If you have any thoughts about CM Punk, if you're listening or watching and you want to comment on Punk, let us know what you thought. There was a lot more wrestling tonight, and we're going to cover it briefly. I know that the major draw of the day was Punk.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
We do have to talk about one more important thing with Punk.
Go for it.
he brought back ice cream bars.
The man made a promise and he delivered, and that might actually be the real reason I'm disappointed I wasn't there. I wanted a friggin' ice cream bar.
Yeah.
But
my brother was like, did they start making AEW ice cream bars just because he came back? And then Excalibur was like, oh, it's from a local place in Chicago. And I was like, he probably bought them himself. But he had to do it. I mean, he mentioned it, I think, 5 times after the initial mention when he was berating Vince McMahon at that contract signing.
And I could tell you, I've had WWE ice cream bars.
The new ones?
After the new ones. And I felt dirty eating them because I knew that he wasn't getting what he deserved.
They're also not as, I mean, I heard they weren't as good as the old ones. I heard like the old ones were way better.
It's cream and cookie.
Yeah, but
it's cream and cookie.
Yeah, but everything nowadays is never as good because they don't put as much fake shit in it.
It's healthier. But
yeah,
anyway.
Yes, there were other things that happened tonight. Wow, unbelievable.
I watched 4 hours of wrestling, 2 shows simultaneously, people. So we're going to talk about it. Yep. If you were just here for Punk, I understand, but Impact put on one of their Impact Plus shows. We had Christian Cage's first defense of the Impact title against Brian Myers, which is a fun little match for, people who love that connection to Edge, the Edge heads. Christian Cage retained a nice first defense a week after winning the title from Kenny Omega. And Impact Plus, they tend to deliver a fun show. It's a little ahead of their weekly show, not quite on the same level as a pay-per-view, but they make it worth your while if you're going to subscribe every month. Which you can do at Impact Plus online.
Did Christian officially retire the TNA title? I know we talked about that
Christian
on the podcast, Cage, but he was carrying it. Sorry, he was carrying it on Wednesday. Good. So I was just I wanted to see and he didn't have it tonight. He only had the Impact title. So I was just curious if he did it yet.
Christian retired the belt, the TNA championship, yesterday on Impact.
Okay.
And honored the lineage, the legacy of the belt, but said we've got to focus on the future, and the future is Impact. So from now on, moving forward, he will only be carrying the Impact Championship, and that is the official top prize of Impact Wrestling. As it should be.
That's in the chat for the TNA title.
It had a good run.
At 2.
But it had 2 good runs. That's very true. But yeah, overall fun show, some tag matches, some intergender matches, which I'm not used to seeing anymore, which was very interesting. A lot of fun. There was a nice little cross promotion for NWA and their Empower event, which will be coming up next week. We got 2 events for NWA next week, which we'll cover then. And Josh Alexander, before we move on from Impact, Josh Alexander, the current X Division champion, is a beast. They are building him up beautifully. If you guys are not familiar with his work, please go check him out. He delivered 10 German suplexes in a row, and he is next level talent, guys. Keep him on your list of guys to watch, okay? And lots of good fun on Impact tonight. Go check it out if you're down.
So I know the other half of that was you watching SmackDown. I was able to catch the first hour of it. I'm planning on going back and watching the second half. What I did notice was, are they starting to tease Dominic Mysterio turning on Rey?
I mean, if you've been a fan of the Mysterio storyline since Dominic really popped up in the first place,
got the shit kicked out of him by Seth Rollins
or Brock Lesnar before that. Fans have been waiting. They've been anticipating that turn. They've been anticipating Dominic turning on Rey, because who doesn't turn on Rey? If not, how it might as well have his son do it. I'd say that it's more likely now than it's ever been. I think you've got a white bread babyface in Dominic, and I think in ring the kid's good. I think the kid he's a Mysterio. Of course he has talent. I think he needs to develop a little bit more, which is why I'm still surprised he's not in NXT, or wasn't in NXT before this new change. But if that breakup does come, it'll be a fun match. And I think we're actually going to see Dominic really embrace the lucha lifestyle there. I think we might finally get him in a mask, and we might lose Ray's mask, but that's just speculation. Overall, SmackDown was a good show. Edge delivered once again behind the mic. He cut a hell of a good promo. They're acknowledging their past from 2014 when Rollins almost killed Edge.
Very exciting that they're doing that. I very much enjoyed that promo then, and I enjoyed Edge's promo tonight.
I don't know if you saw what happened later, but Edge got broody. And by broody, I mean a nice little throwback to the Brood from the 90s where Edge got his start. That black goo bit that they dropped on Rollins was awesome. It was disgusting. It was cheesy, but more than anything, it got me hyped. It was fun to see Edge being weird, and Rollins sold it beautifully.
He did mention in that opening promo that Rollins was forcing him, to a place that he doesn't like to go.
Oh yeah,
and perhaps that's what he was referencing, was going all the way back to being in the Brood and being a borderline vampire.
I in 2021, Edge embracing the Brood was not something I had on my bingo card, but I'm here for it. It's different, so let's go with it.
At this point in 2021, I have burned every bingo card in existence because nothing ever is going to hit. Like, it's like, oh, like, yeah, like Roman Reigns wins a championship is like the only thing that probably has hit this whole year. Because
it's like I said,
everything else is way off the board. CM Punk coming back, Bryan Danielson leaving WWE, all these like everything is not on the board.
It's the most, even though there's been a lot of people lost their jobs, it is the most exciting time I can remember in wrestling. There's free agency. There are multiple different companies that you can be invested in. There are top guys getting their due in places that I never would have thought they would have. So let's keep playing bingo, man. I don't care if I don't win. I think I win even when I lose. So it's pretty fantastic.
We're gonna run out of ink making new cards.
Sticking with SmackDown a little bit, we saw the return of I almost said Private Party. The Street Profits. I mean, they both wrestled tonight, but let's be real, the gimmicks are similar. But it was good. It was good to see. It was good to see Montez back. You know, I think that guy's a future star. And while I'm not crazy about the direction they've taken Otis, he's being treated like a threat, so that's great.
He does give off he gives off kind of like Jack Swagger vibes, but you know what I mean? Yeah. Just like, because I'm pretty sure he's like they're treating him like a shoot fighter, and he with his haircut now and his like 1,000-yard stare, he has I almost said weight, but like the physical presence. I meant like weight as in like a physical presence way, not in terms of like his actual weight. But like he has a physical presence to back it up. Like you see that guy coming out, you looking like that, you're scared out of your mind.
No, absolutely. This isn't Chris Farley anymore. This is a big guy that can kick my ass, and I'm good. I don't need that to happen. What else did we have tonight?
I know I was gonna say Rock Cena closed, unless you have anything before that.
Who closed?
Allegedly, Rock Cena was supposed to face to face.
I gave you a second chance and you did it again. It's not
I
the
said
Rock.
2 minutes, get out of here. Cena Roman, sorry.
Cena Roman, and last week's promo with Cena
I did it twice in a lifetime.
Oh my God. You got to put $1 in a box or a jar or something at this point. Shame on you.
$2.
But
somebody hit the loser game show noise.
We know at this point Cena and Roman are going to tear it up on the mic. This isn't the Roman from a few years ago, who even then I was a fan of, but this is a much more confident Roman. This is a Roman who's allowed to say the things that make sense for his character. And last week they killed it on the mic. Well, Cena did. And this week they had a fun back and forth once again with the 1, 2, 3 really playing up again. And hey, Cena got a 1-2-3 on Roman. He rolled him up, and that's all he's going to need tomorrow at SummerSlam. He needs to just, it doesn't need to be a pretty match, but if Cena wants to be a 17-time champion, which I love him, but I don't see it happening, he just needs 1, 2, 3.
Somewhere there will be a sports book that will take the bet that Cena pins him 1, 2, 3, and it's not the finish.
My God, it's not money I would put down.
I've kind of stopped giving WWE credit at some point, and I feel like that's because it's going to be dirty at the finish. I mean, maybe I don't know. Maybe Cena puts him over clean. I don't know, but I could definitely see. I should probably say this on the Instagram, but I can definitely see a ref bump and Cena pins him, and the ref's not looking, and he gets his 1, 2, 3, and it doesn't finish the match.
Here's the beauty. If Cena wins, they have a 17-time champion, and that's a historic moment that no matter what, people will remember Cena winning his 17th title.
And then Charlotte needs 18.
Sorry, guys. If Roman wins clean, it's a dominant win for the tribal chief. It's a dominant win for the head of the table, and it just further cements Roman as the guy of today. And if Roman cheats to do it, Cena stays strong. He still looks good because Roman needed to cheat, and it further shows how much of a heel Roman has become and how much of a heel Roman needs to be to win these matches and how desperate he is to hold on to that title. So no matter what happens, good things are following this match. And I think that no matter who wins, we're leading towards the champion versus Finn Balor. And then in the background, you have Baron Corbin, who is continuing to hold on to Big E's Money in the Bank. So there is a lot of excitement following the Universal Championship picture, no matter who is the champion at the end of the night, and no matter who wins that match.
Yeah, there's a lot of directions they can go, like you said, after. Because, I mean, I don't know if Cena's sticking around after SummerSlam. Maybe he does for a little while. But
I know he's going to be at MSG in September.
Yeah,
I know that because I have tickets for it, and they've advertised them for it. So even if it's just a dark match, he is going to be around. Hypothetically, if they wanted to give him the 17th and then have him drop it on SmackDown the week later, as much as that would suck, they could do it.
Yeah, it seems a little cheesy.
I mean, that's what they did with the 16th title. When he won it from AJ, he had it for like 2 weeks before losing it to Bray.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Damn.
And
so, I don't know.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I think if he loses tomorrow night, I think maybe he's out of the title picture and he does something else for a while. You know, it gives a rub to another guy, and then he's probably back and he's got to film something.
Likely.
So, yeah.
Likely.
And then there's a lot that Roman can do, but that's another podcast. Probably tomorrow night. So tomorrow night we are going to do a live after SummerSlam pod right here on Facebook Live. We will also probably do one after TakeOver on Sunday. So be sure to tune in here. And
the plan, guys, is, as Nick said, we're going to do a live reaction to SummerSlam and a live reaction to NXT, in addition to doing a special episode of the pod for the pay-per-view weekends. So that way we could get a little more in depth, and you're going to hear more of the group together. And then in addition to the weekly episodes that we'll put out likely every I believe Thursday, either Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah, I believe we're going to try to get them out on Wednesday. Like we said, we're just starting, so sometimes things start a little slow.
And we appreciate the support we've gotten so far. You guys have been really motivating, and we're just a bunch of guys who love wrestling, and we appreciate the fact that you are listening. Thank you.
We appreciate support, appreciate the patience. I think that about wraps things up here, James, unless you have anything else you would like to talk about.
I can talk about Punk all night, but I think we should wrap it up.
All right, then. For James Gisante, I'm Nick Cummings. Everyone have a good night, and go get some CM Punk ice cream bars wherever you can.
God, so good. All right. Good night.
Have a good one, everybody. Thank you for watching.